Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, where we talk with local entrepreneurs, share motivation, network with one another, and pick up a tip or two on how not to burn your business to the ground. I'm your host, Spencer Ward. All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode. As always, we're sponsored by Health West. Great people, great organization, great medical providers. Give them a try, give them a test. They are great for you and your family. Look them up on Google, see what they do exactly, and how they can serve you and where they're closest to you, and give them a holler. Also sponsored by my company, New Clean Commercial Cleaning. Anything you need from janitorial services, carpet cleaning, medical cleaning, even down to terminal cleans on your operating rooms. We are the people you need to talk to. Give us a call, 208-254-7070, and we'd be happy to help you. Okay, guys and gals, I've been thinking, I say that a lot, I think, because maybe I don't think a lot, but I just have to come up with episodes for the show. But I honestly have been thinking about this episode because I just recently had a problem that goes along with this episode. Now, I'll get into that in a minute. But let's talk about the CEO mindset versus the technician mindset. Okay. You as leaders have to really understand the difference between the two. Okay. Most of us, started because we're good at doing something, or maybe it was just you found a niche in the market. You're like, you know what, I can service that niche. I have the talents to take care of that. Okay. As the company grows, your role will grow too, correct? So the problem is the business gets bigger, the owner's job doesn't change. Okay, that's what we're trying to get into here. There's a big difference between owning a business and actually becoming the CEO of that business. It's not your title, it's how you think, it's how you work on, and where you spend your time. Okay, at the beginning of your business, you are going to be the owner, the CEO, the marketer, everything. Okay, but it has to evolve. Okay, so let's talk about stop asking how and start asking who. Okay, so a technician will say, how do I get this done? Okay, a CEO will say, who should own this? Okay, I'm faster at it. Eventually makes you the bottleneck. So if you're the one saying, hey, I'm faster at doing that, I'd rather just do it myself. Okay, now you become the bottleneck the bigger the company gets. At the beginning, yeah, you can do that. You're not the bottleneck because you're the only employee of the business. You have to do the payroll, you have to do the HR, you have to do all the stuff. But as it grows and as you get employees, you have to evolve. Okay. Mike Campion, one of my friends and coaches, said to me, and said to our group as well, if the pilot of an airplane, of course, is cleaning the bathroom, then who is flying the plane? So you have to ask yourself, just because you can do $20 an hour work, doesn't mean that's where you create the most value. Okay. Owners equals they're supposed to be the coach and not the player. Okay. And at the beginning, yeah, $20 an hour work, that's what you have to do. $20 to $30 an hour work, but it prevents you from doing the $100 an hour work to $1,000 an hour work. And that's what we're going to get into this. Let's start talking now about stop confusing busy with productive. Okay. Now technician measures success by task completed. Okay. CEO should measure success by outcomes created. Okay. I'll tell you from example. I've had many encounters with this where at the beginning, or even sometimes now, I'll have a task list of like, okay, I have to get this stuff done. Okay. And at the end, after drawing my pen through those, lining it through those task lists that I've got everything done, it makes you feel good because you're accomplishing many things. But when you get into that mindset of the CEO and you're thinking, okay, I just have to focus on outcomes. So if something's broken, where is it broken? Why is it broken? And you have to start walking upstream to fix it. Okay. So one great hire, contract, pricing decisions, or a strategy decision can be worth more than 100 completed tasks. Okay. Keep that in mind as we continue on. So Ask yourself, what's the highest value thing I can do today? Not how much can I get done today? What's the highest value thing I can get done to do today? And that's sometimes very difficult for us as owners, as business leaders, because we're constantly wanting to stretch ourselves and to be so productive and be able to line on, notch off those list items that we're like, yeah, look how much I've done today. I've gotten so much done. And I feel you because I've been there. I still have to fight that. Um, so let's keep going at it. So technicians fixes problems today. Okay. CEO asks, why does this keep happening? That's a big one, guys. So you have people that are like, okay, they can put out the fire, and then you have to be the one that says, why does this keep happening? So when there's complaints, turnover, poor quality, missed deadlines, weak sales, look upstream. Okay. That literally, here's an example. An employee quits, don't just replace them. Why are people leaving? You should ask yourself. Customers complaining, don't just fix it. What allows it to happen? Okay, that's another question you should ask yourself. Sales decline, don't just sell harder. Where's the machine broken? Okay, so this is where a CEO, like I said before, the technician lives downstream, putting out fires, and the CEO keeps walking upstream to figure out where they keep starting. That's a big one. Um, you can hire anyone to put out fires. Uh, it's harder to walk upstream and define where they're starting and who's starting them and what system's broken that it's causing the sparks to ignite that fire. Okay, so your job must change as the business grows. The progression is you do the work, lead people who do the work, develop leaders who lead those people, and then you get to lead the company. That's the progression as your business grows. Okay. Your CEO job becomes people, strategy, capital, culture, and direction. What got you to 0 to 500,000 a year won't necessarily get you to $5 million a year. You can't just run a $5 million company with a $500,000 job description. Alex Hormozi talks about eventually getting above the business, having operators handle day-to-day execution while you focus on the areas where you create the most leverage. So again, guys, you got to think, where can I walk upstream? Not just, oh, this customer keeps complaining, or this keeps happening in our building process. We're always dropping the ball here. Maybe the trusses aren't getting delivered or not getting scheduled right every single build. Okay, that's an upstream issue. This is a schedule, this is a systems issue that we can easily solve if we just start looking upstream. If you're just the guy that's like, okay, this is constantly happening, and then you're yelling at your employees why it's continuing to happen, instead of walking upstream and deciding, hey, you know what? This is the system. This is how it's going to stop. Maybe I have to schedule this out a little bit further. Maybe I have to talk to this person. And now I can automate a system. So anytime I get to a certain point in the building process, this email automatically goes out and things get scheduled, trusses get delivered. I don't know anything about construction. I'm just giving, random examples here. So protect your time, guys. Protect your time and attention. Owners protect companies' money, but very often they give away their time and attention. Every problem doesn't deserve CEO attention. Okay. Every employee shouldn't need CEO approval. Okay, that's a big one. We now have around 90 employees, and that's not a brag. I'm telling you right now. But if every one of them needed my approval, that would be devastating for me. I wouldn't get anything done. There'd be nothing upstream that I could handle answering 90 employees' questions. But now I have a staff manager. I have, 5 or 6 supervisors. Then I have maybe another 6 or 7 or 8, maybe 10 team leads that they all handle different aspects of the employee experience. And we're setting up, as another example here, we have set up that we're putting in AI to go through all of our call logs, because we have used an AI phone system where employees text in or call in with different questions and throughout the evenings as we're servicing. And now we're generating all the the major questions that keep getting brought up on a reoccurring basis. And now we're creating a AI facts, answers and questions situation where if a situation is a text message is texted in of, hey, what do I do? Where do I pick up supplies? Or what, something that's just reoccurring because maybe these employees aren't paying attention in their onboarding process. Um, AI will just automatically send them a text message back with the answer because it's happening so much. So this is another thing we're doing to also offset some of the burden from our team leads, our supervisors, and especially our staff manager, because their staff manager can't handle 90 people on their own too. So change the question. Don't ask, can I help with this? Ask, is this worthy of my attention? Okay. Your attention might be one of the most expensive resources in your company. If everyone has unlimited access to it, you won't have any attention to actually go to leading the actual business. You gotta be more uh, attentive to what you're giving your attention to. So um, entrepreneurs naturally see opportunities everywhere. We've talked about this before, shiny object syndrome. Since new service, new location, new customers, new business, new investment, every yes costs the time, money, and attention somewhere else. Okay. CEO questions are, does this move us towards our goal? What's the opportunity cost? Who is actually going to run it? Now, stop being the superhero of your company. Owners often enjoy being needed. So true. Okay. Ask the owner, me. He'll fix it. He'll do all this kind of stuff. No, I eventually had to say, no, I'm not doing that. I know I can do that. I'm just not doing that. I've set up Gary or Samantha or Carrie or those kind of guys to do that. Okay. But you have to say no. It feels like importance, but it can actually reveal owner dependencies. Okay. And we're going to get more to that. Become less necessary operationally and more valuable strategically. Okay, that's what we're doing as CEOs of our companies. Mike Campion said, "Think like the coach, not the player. You don't win by running onto the field every time somebody makes a mistake. You build better players." And that's been hard for me, guys. It's been hard for me to understand that because I and I'm sure you just naturally want to go and solve it and make sure everything's done the right way. It's very difficult. I used to run out in the middle of the night, get things done, take care of issues, and now I don't. I have people I can lean on, and that's where we're moving into building decision makers. Okay, delegation isn't giving someone a giant task; it's giving them an outcome plus expectations plus guardrails. Saying, "Hey, I don't want you. I'm not going to give you 5 or 10 things to do, but I'm going to tell you, hey, I need if I'm talking about our staff manager, I'm going to say, hey, I need our customer, I mean our employee retention to be at a certain level, a certain percentage per month. Maybe it's 2%, maybe it's 10%, depending on what your industry is. Um, whatever you're setting that at, that's kind of the outcome, and then give her the guardrails to help accomplish that. Like give her the help, but just don't that if you're giving her 10,000 tasks to do to make that happen, then it's just too much. You got to give them the empowerment to be able to make their own calls to make that actually happen. Okay. Um, Allow good people to make decisions differently than you would. That's big. Okay. Because plenty of us are thinking, well, I wouldn't have done it that way. Like I've said in the past, I tell my leaders, as long as you do something and it doesn't go against our core values, go ahead and make that decision all day long. Okay. Ed Mylett said that leadership requires continually selling the dream. Okay. You're the one that's pushing the culture, pushing where we're going. Why does it matter? What part do I own? To all your different leaders, managers, just normal employees on the field. If you want people to make decisions without you, they need to understand the mission, the culture well enough to know how you think. Okay. Now, just recently, we go out during the summer months, and we have, some larger schools we service. And then the summer times we do these deeper cleans and carpet cleans and all this kind of stuff happening. There was two jobs where I didn't make any money. One of my core values is make money, honestly. Okay. My employees were making money. My customers were making money because the project turned out to be good. But what happened is I didn't set a good enough objective. Okay. Well, I mean, outcome as a general key of this. I need to be more realistic with, hey, this is how many hours I expect it to be taken care of because we've done this in the past. Okay. This is kind of the profit margins I'm trying to aim for this job. Okay. This gives you this X amount of, labor and, and, you know, finance, financial support to do this job. So because of those couple jobs and me not making money, because the price is what the price is, we tell the customer, I can't just go back and say, hey, my employees took longer or they didn't do the right job the first time, so I had to send them back and do it the second time. So when you came in the next day to start your school year, everything looked good, which it did, but it just cost me twice as much money as it should have. So now I'm walking upstream and thinking, okay, where's the disconnect? Where's the disconnect between me and the leaders on the ground? Where's the disconnect between the leaders and the employees that are actually doing the work? And that's what I'm trying to fix. And that's actually happening today. So that's my experience, and that's what I'm doing. That's what spurred this whole conversation that we're having today. So moving on to how we're building an asset, not just revenue. Okay. Now let's give you two different examples here. You have company A, which has $5 million in revenue, owner, but the owner works constantly. Okay. Thin margins, weak management, customer depends on the owner. Okay. Or there's company B. Maybe it's just 3 million in revenue. I don't say just 3 million because that's still a lot of money. But there's stronger profits than the $5 million company in percentage wise. Maybe it's, $5 million only has maybe 5% profit. Maybe $3 million, there's a 20% profit. Okay. At the end of the day, guys, who's making more money there? Exactly. It's a $3 million company. So that's how much, it's the real money is how much you're actually bringing home. Okay. So in the $3 million company, there's recurring customers, good management, runs without the owner, and I don't care what kind of industry you're in, guys. If you're your house, your home builder or whatever, you can still have recurring customers because they trust you, they know you, they're going to continue to use you. It might not be month-to-month customers, or it might be depending on the person you're doing business with. So, which one of these companies would you rather have? Okay, don't only watch revenue. Okay, revenue is vanity. Profits is sanity. Okay, just remember that. So you need to be watching your profit and cash flow, management depth, reoccurring revenue, customer concentration, owner dependence. Okay. Now, when you're creating revenue, we're trying to build an asset. Okay. And if the entire asset depends on you showing up every morning, you haven't finished building it yet. Okay. What company would you rather buy? The $5 million one or the $3 million one? I'll tell you all day long, I'm buying that $3 million one, $3 million one. Okay. I just recently tried to buy a company in a different state and it's doing solid numbers. But then I found out of all of their customers they had, just two of their customers made up 60% of the revenue. It was a no-go for me at that point. Without them significantly discounting the business, it was a big no-go. If you try to keep your customer concentration below 20%. Okay. If a single customer is above 20%, you've got to work like crazy to continue to dilute that customer to that 20% line. Okay. Now I know some of you guys, some of you are just, hey, you strictly depend on Medicaid, Medicare, all that kind of stuff. And I know that's your cross to bear. So some of it is just, you can't handle that kind of, you can't really adjust to that. But if you can, try to get more private pay or do some other things to help you offset that a little bit. So let's go forward. Okay. So we're thinking years, not just Fridays. Okay. Technicians think what needs to happen this week. CEO thinks what needs to be true 3 years from now. Okay. Work backwards again. Where are we going? What people and systems will we need? What do I need to do this year, this quarter, and this week to get there? Okay. Uh, the 12, what is it? The 12-week year, the book. This is where you should read to go over this concept. It's all about managing what you're trying to accomplish. So each quarter of the year will represent a year, and how you're trying to accomplish your task, and how you can really get it done a lot faster. If you have a main goal and then you reverse engineer it, saying, okay, if I'm trying to get another 300,000 or 500,000 in revenue this year, what has to be true for me to get there? Okay. Now, once you get that answer, then you say, okay, what do I have to do this month to make this progress to that point? What do I have to do this week? What do I have to do this day? Okay. And that's what it all about boils down to is having that mindset of like, okay, um, this is the stuff I have to concentrate on, and not just, hey, I cleared out my inbox today. I did all this kind of stuff. I'm so productive. But did it really move you towards your main goal? That's what you have to continue to think. So now we talked about time tracking, all this kind of stuff. You have to now start blocking out 2 to 4 hours every week where technician work is prohibited. Okay. Use it to review numbers, the bottlenecks, think about the people and strategy, identify what you need to stop doing or delegate. It might feel like you're not working. That's the whole point. Okay. You're going to actually, it's not going to, might feel that way. You're going to feel that way. You're going to be tearing yourself from the back shop or office, and you're thinking, I'm over here just thinking straight about what I'm trying to accomplish in the next year, 2 years, 3 years. What are my goals? What do I want for my family? What do I want for this business? Everything. And that's what you're gonna work on. And that's then you can really set goals and help yourself understand what kind of leaders you have to build to get that to become a reality. Now, when we talked about leaders and building, delegating information, and delegating those outcomes, don't just have one leader that you're like, you know what, I like Larry, he is my guy, or Karen, she's my gal, she is so good, she handles all this different thing. Don't use that one person as a dump zone. Hey, you do all the stuff I don't want to do or I shouldn't be doing. Okay, that's not how we delegate. Okay, we should thin slice some things here. We have, you have your managers. Like for example, I have a director of client happiness. Okay, or we call her the uh, what do we call her now? But it's director of client happiness. Her full job is just to deal with the customers, continue to make them happy. Okay, that's her whole focus. And then there's some crossover that she has with our staff manager, because if our staff isn't doing their jobs, our clients aren't going to be happy. So she has to talk with our staff manager. So that's where another position exists. I have someone who just focuses on our staff. Now she has a support system of team leads and supervisors underneath her, but that's how that works. Okay. So you can't just say, hey, Larry or Karen, you do all this now. You have to create different positions to help them achieve their goals. I just recently hired another virtual assistant to help kind of be a personal assistant to me. And I said to her the other day in our meeting, I said, listen, as we grow and I start dumping more on you, let me know when it comes to time that you're like, hey, Spence, I'm tapped out. Then I'll put you in charge of finding someone who you can hire as a virtual assistant to help you with your workload. You can't just think, oh, a one and done position is going to solve all of it. So you have to break it up, thin slice it. It makes it easier too if one leaves or some, God forbid, there's a bus test that happens and they don't come into work the next morning because they're not alive. Then you only have one position to fill instead of this position you've made the jack of all trades. Then you're really hamstringing yourself. So now ask yourself now as we close this thing out, if you disappeared for 30 days, what would break? Okay. Remember the episode we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Okay. Now, if it's sales, operations, payroll, customer relationships, employee decisions, and financial accountability, okay, write those things down. Okay. Those are the things that you're going to develop a CEO list for. Okay. Those are the systems you have to fix. Okay. You really have to dial it in and just think, okay, what else? If I can't get these done, I'm going to be married to them for the rest of my life. Okay. And that's how it will be. Everyone that thinks I've tried it. I've tried it, Spencer. I've done this. And Larry and Karen and Peter keep failing me. And I can't teach it. I'm the only one that knows how to swing this hammer this certain way. Now I'll call BS on that all day long. I give this example all the time. If they can train someone to take a human heart out of one body and put it in another body and make that other body continue to live, and that can be handed down for generations and decades now, you can teach anyone in your not anyone, I would say, but you can teach another talented person in your business to take on a certain task that brings an outcome that you want. Okay. So if you disappeared for 30 days and you came back to find the company running perfectly fine, okay, what would you do next? Okay. Because that's probably a lot closer to the real job as CEO. That's the kind of stuff you should be focusing on. And maybe you're thinking, hey, if it's all running fine, why would I do anything? No, there's always something you can add. But that's kind of the higher level work that you should be working on. So I hope you got something out of this episode. If this interests you, or if you think it could help someone else that's struggling in their business to create some freedom for themselves, and they're working themselves to death, share this with them. And you guys have a great day, great week, and be happy, be grateful, find opportunities to serve others. Adios.
That's it for today's Idaho Business Podcast. Hopefully you learned something new. And if you didn't, I've got a cheat code for you. Go to theidahobusinesspodcast.com, enter your email, and get my 20 golden rules for business. It's packed with my best advice, plus it's free. Subscribe, leave a review, share this with a friend. Until next time, keep hustling, keep laughing, and keep Idaho awesome.